Coming to you live from the Business RadioX studio in Woodstock, Georgia. This is Fearless Formula with Sharon Klein. And welcome to Fearless Formula on Business RadioX, where we talk about the ups and downs of the business world and offer words of wisdom for business success. I am your host, Sharon Klein, and today in the studio, I have the founder and CEO of a boutique digital marketing agency. They provide high-quality social media management and digital marketing services that produce tangible results for their clients. Please welcome to the studio, CEO and founder of Got2 Media, Sherry Bailey.
How are we doing?
Good. How are you?
Doing great.
I'm so glad you're here. I always reach out to people kind of like randomly, like, hey, you'd be interested in talking about this? And it was funny because initially you were like, is this not a real thing?
Right. We get so much spam these days. You just never know.
It's true. So I was so happy to find that you realized I wasn't spam, but and also trusting me, a stranger, basically, to come on in and tell your story. Yeah. So thank you.
Yeah, we got to take a little risk once in a while, right?
Heck yeah, out of our comfort zones. That's always where I find that I'm never unhappy that I was brave.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, no. It doesn't matter if you face plant. Either way, you learn something. Yeah. Don't do that again, right?
Let's hope that's not the case here. No face planting. No, we're going to have the best time. So one of the reasons I reached out to you is because I really find media companies and agencies very interesting, because these days everything is kind of melded together in so many different ways. Mm-hmm. So I was wondering if you'd tell me a little bit about how you got to be the founder and CEO of Got2 Media.
Well, it's kind of an interesting story, I guess you would say. I had opened a company that helped businesses get loans so it was Enlightenment Capital Funding. Oh, and I went through the same process that everybody does when you open a business. You go and you have to do the branding, and you need to meet with different. I met with several different marketing firms to put together the whole campaigns. Well, I just kept finding the same thing though. I felt like I kept asking, like, what? But don't you want to know about my business? Like, I just felt it was really impersonal, I guess you would say. Well, I was recovering from a pretty major surgery, so I had some downtime, and I just started studying it and ended up putting my whole company together myself. I was out meeting with clients, and they started asking, who did your website? Who did your branding? Who did you this? And I said, well, that was me, actually. And they go, do you mind doing mine? And so the next thing you know, I was doing more of the marketing for businesses than I was lending stuff.
No kidding.
And so one after another, needless to say, after a few years, I was like, okay, yeah, this is probably where I belong on this side of it. Yeah.
So how fascinating that you kind of on your own decided there's got to be a better way.
Yeah. I mean, I just felt like they were very efficient. A lot of them, they definitely had the whole streamline, but I felt like nobody wanted to. And the whole thing was like, it should be personal. It really should be more on a personal level, because when you're marketing for a business, you need to understand who they are in order to ever communicate in their tone, in their voice, their products, their services, correctly, I would think. Yeah.
I'll slightly off topic a little bit, but did you watch Mad Men?
Of course.
Did you find it so interesting too, to kind of see the backstory behind some of the iconic ads that we all know and love?
I can't remember off the top of my head, but I do remember watching the show.
Yeah. So like I remember one was about Lucky Strike and how do you market cigarettes, and things like that. So I guess you're right. Just looking at, I know it's a fictional story, but the idea of being able to identify with the company that has a product and be what's important to that company. Yeah. What do they want out there?
Yeah, it's putting yourself in those shoes, but most importantly, it's who are your buyers? Who are your end users? And what do they do for a living? What do they eat? What do they read? Who are they? Because when you're communicating the product, that's who you're looking at. But you have to know the product first. You have to know what you're marketing in order to even dive into more of who you're marketing to.
So you initially started your own company because you wanted to have a different spin.
Well, I didn't really mean to, but I just started studying it, and I'd been in sales throughout my years, and I'd done several other things. But for the most part, it wasn't until I found this that I realized I can be really good at something. Like, I was really good at it, just naturally. And I was like, holy cow. So, and I just couldn't get enough. I mean, I still to this day can't get enough. So I realized I didn't even think twice of it until people started asking me to do theirs.
Yeah, so thought, do their websites.
Yeah, do their websites, then their social, and then they're this. And I thought, okay, yeah, I might be good at something. Might be really good at this, So I just kept studying, kept doing it. And through the years, I've never been able to put it down.
How long have you been in business?
So I got to media in 2018, 17, 18, somewhere around there. But I had started the whole process back in 2013, believe it or not.
Wow.
And when I built my first site, I guess you would say back in the day. So it's been several years now.
Yeah, 10 years. If you think about it, technology has changed so much in 10 years, right?
Yeah. Talk about talking with, your brand voice. We didn't even really talk that way back then.
Right. I guess you're right. There's like a tone change.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
As well as I've spoken to some other media companies where they talk about how much it's everywhere. So social media having power in terms of TikTok and ads on Facebook and Instagram. And then Google Analytics, being able to market yourself that way. So I can only imagine what you've had to try to keep up with
on a daily basis.
24/7.
It's never a revolving door. It's always changing. And I guess I kind of like that though. I work on that level. I like the speed of it, but at the same time, it does get a little like, okay, I just finally got, and now we're going to change it again. Yeah. Like, really? Come on, Facebook, stop doing that crap.
Stop growing. Stop changing.
Stop messing with me.
So who is your ideal client?
Oh, geez. Well, I think that who's your ideal client? I mean, anyone who's willing to and ready to grow their business and understands that it's an investment. Marketing is an investment. It's not really. It's a lot of people go, well, I have word of mouth, and I think that's awesome. Word of mouth nowadays is through social though,
Truth.
and so, and keeping brand awareness and so forth. So anyone who wants to grow. Now I do kind of hone in on a few industries, but at the same time, I don't really turn away at the same time. It depends on, I don't usually have to turn away too many people. So, I've done everything from restaurants to bands to, corporate, larger, to medical, to construction, to roofing. So, yeah.
Girl, you're everywhere.
Well, I don't know if that's the best thing to do, because I'll be honest with you, you need to definitely niche. But but at the same time, I like helping people.
Well, that is the ultimate goal, right?
Yeah.
Like you win, they win, because they need your help and you know how to do it and you're good at it.
Well, if they're making money, I'm making money. I mean, honestly, if they're not making money, if I'm not producing enough that it's not working, then it's not good for anybody.
What do you think is the most surprising thing about your industry that you think people don't know?
So my thought on that question is, what would you think that, I mean, when you look at that I don't think people know, I mean, that's I have no idea really. I mean, there's quite a few different avenues we can go there, but
would you say that like if a client came to you and their expectations are much bigger than what you think is realistic, is that something that you think people don't really have the pulse on what's realistic?
Well, I think that too many other agencies have set them up to fail. I think too many people give them false expectations, and then when it comes crumbling down, they go, they don't trust anymore. And I don't blame them. They've been misled. They get overpromised, underdelivered. So when they come to me, I go, this is what it is. This is what I can do. I like to do the opposite. I like to over-deliver and under-promise, because honestly, that's just kind of like living below your means. Never go too far. As long as you know that you can produce a certain level with what they've got, So honestly, it's just about setting proper expectations on what you can produce.
Do you feel like with social media being 24/7 that you've had to change it's no longer billboards as much out in the world, or you've had to change to adjust to be more digital, I guess.
Yeah, I think everybody does. It's I've met with companies who have not really done anything digital, and they still do the radios. They do radio stuff or sports events, but they really haven't gone digital. And so, I mean, unfortunately, it catches up to you though. And they know they need to, but they don't know exactly what direction to go with it. So it really it's about sitting down and communicating where you are and where you want to be, and then putting a plan together, because it's all about the plan.
Mm-hmm. What's your favorite? Do you have like a favorite marketing campaign that you did?
I've had some favorite clients.
Favorite clients?
I've had some, but to be honest with you, my clients they stay with me. They've been with me from, usually I have a 2 year to 2.5 year where they stay with me. So
that says a lot.
Yeah. Well, I think so. I think if it wasn't working, if I wasn't doing my job properly, then they wouldn't stay. Mm-hmm. So
is there anything that you wish that you had known before you got started in this industry that you wish you could go back and tell yourself? What lessons have you learned?
Oh, there's so many. But honestly, I don't believe in regrets. Like, I'm the kind of person that believes that every single lesson I've learned has formed me into who I am today. And so I don't know if I don't really look at life that way either. I love
that though. It frames it as everything has a lesson to learn and is positive.
And
it's
positive,
not so much negative.
You can find something out of it, and as long as you don't repeat it over and over.
What, are you watching my life? That's exactly what I do.
It's catching yourself the next go round. Like, I'm not going to just do that over and over again.
Yeah. So. All right. So I love the notion of there are no mistakes.
Not to me. I mean, yes, even if you do make a mistake, at the worst case scenario, well, you just learn from it.
Yeah, I mean, you say it's like, yeah. I wonder why it is that I can be so, beat myself up easier, when I do.
We all do that. Yeah, we all do it. I mean, that's bound to happen. We're harder on ourselves than we are anybody else. But I guess I don't want to hold on to things, so it's especially negative energy. My thing is like, okay, I have to hold on just long enough to not do it again, right?
Right.
But then it's time to move on. I just don't want to live in a world where I'm harping on myself or anybody else for that matter. It's too heavy a bit to bear, I think.
I get that. And I think that there's something really like peaceful about knowing that even in your industry, as things are changing and you have to learn and continue to grow, and if you don't know something, you go find it. It's like there's a go-to attitude about it. There isn't oh no, I don't know. Oh no, this is going to hold me down.
Right. Well, I'm just not a believer in anything holding me down, to be honest with you. I mean, I really don't. I mean, I've always said, my grandmother when I was a kid, where there's a will, there's a way. And sure enough, I really do. If all else fails, I will my way through it,
I love that though, because it's like, what great words of wisdom that, it's so simple. But everyone needs a little bit of that encouragement, I think, because I can get, for myself in particular, I can get very much into my own head where I'm like, oh no, I don't know how to do this. I don't understand anything about it. And already I do analysis paralysis and shut down.
Yeah, that's what happens. Don't get me wrong. I mean, there's things like, jumping out of a perfectly healthy airplane. Not going to happen, right? I don't even want to learn it. It's okay. Right. I'm not going to do that. But for the most part, and there's just about it. I have taken on, I am the handyman around the house. I am the lawn and maintenance. And it's all been just learning, figuring out on my own. Throughout the years, it's been like, okay, what can stop me exactly? Except for yourself, truly.
I love that. It sounds like, okay, what's the next problem? Okay, well, I'll figure out how to handle it.
Right. Take it as it comes.
Attitude.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Yeah, it's just kind of a mind frame, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. Look at you. And look, you did. You created your company.
Yeah, a couple of them.
Couple of company. Okay, what's your other company?
It was Enlightenment Capital Funding. It was.
Oh, okay, got you.
I went into that business just because I had, this is what I'd known. I'd been in lending for many years. And so I figured, well, I need to do something I know. Not really something I had to, again, though, I went at it similar with Got To Media as I wanted to help businesses. I wanted to truly help them. And, but I found myself in marketing, and the next thing you know, I just, I fell in love. I fell in love with all of it.
What do you love the most?
The people.
I was thinking you said you've got clients that are your favorites, and it is about people, isn't it?
Yeah, it's about people, and they inspire me, and they amaze me. Their stories, everything about it's people that probably inspire me most of all.
I think that's what inspires me too, especially this show, Fearless Formula. Yeah. Talking to people and finding out what their stories are. Why do they do what they do? Right. What kind of journeys have they been on? What things that make us more like than different are things that I can kind of learn from.
And that's marketing in a nutshell, pretty much. You have to know who your audience is. You have to understand them, and if you have that curiosity, which I think, obviously you do, and I'm curiosity killed the cat, but I'm not going to stop being curious, right? So, and I just, because of that curiosity, and then a part of me is a very creative side combination, and that's what marketing is.
So would you say that your grandmother was one of your mentors, or do you have a mentor?
Well, I think that I've had several, but one was an owner of a radio station, believe it or not.
Wow.
One of my first jobs, I was working for Z97.7 radio.
Well, you have a great voice, by the way. Just listening to you, I'm like, what? You can talk to me all day. Like, you just do. It's such a nice sound.
Well, it's certainly not a high pitched, that's for sure.
But I love it either way.
Yeah, he gave me the ropes. He taught me the ins and outs of when you walk into a room and you're meeting with people. You're not there to sell them something. You're there to listen. You're there to hear them. And if there's something you can help them with, then fine. But you're not going in there trying to sell them something. And that he gave me the foundation.
Well, that sounds so when you've got a client that you're meeting, when you come in, you're not trying to convince them to be with you.
Absolutely
you're actually
not.
just trying to hear what they want
Always.
in their story. I bet they can feel the difference.
They have. I mean, I would assume. I mean, it is about reading the room, obviously, but for the most part, you're not going in there trying to sell them anything. If you can help people, ultimately, people don't want to buy from you when you're trying to sell them something anyway. Mm-hmm. They want help. If they need help from you, great.
Right. So if they have a problem, they want to know what your solution is, but they're not looking for you to try to give them something.
Right. Yeah.
Got it.
And the same thing when you're putting out your digital marketing on social media. You're not looking to constantly sell. This is me. You're looking to answer questions. You're looking to provide real, tangible things that people find helpful.
Right, like solving a problem. Like, here's my problem.
Right. So think about what your people, your buyers' problems are first, and then how would you go about solving them? Can you solve them? And you want to put that kind of stuff together when you're putting stuff out on social media.
How do you advertise yourself as a media company?
So it's kind of like my dad. He owned a construction company. Yet our house was constantly, it was like the worst. Like, when are you ever going to fix this? My mother said. Well, it's kind of like the same thing with us digital marketing companies, where we tend to be the worst with our own stuff because we're too busy doing everybody else's, right? So, and I tend to, I've really tried to step up my game more lately. But I get so immersed in doing my thing. I'm a bad example. But no, I put together, I do, obviously my search engine optimization is very important. That's how you found me. Right?
Yes, that is how I found you.
So,
it worked.
Yeah, it's working. It's working. Of course I try to do some organic stuff, but I really am, I do a lot with my customers and a lot of stuff on theirs, and I don't hold back. For instance, I'm well known for going the extra mile. What
does the extra mile look like?
Everybody says something different, but everybody says the same thing pretty much, that she goes the extra mile. I think I just, I go all in. I'm a commitment person, right? So when my clients need something and we're working on their stuff, it is about, I don't like to halfway do something. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it right. So, and B, I like to make sure that, I'm not constantly like, well, this is going to be this then if I'm going to go, I'm just a giver. I'm a natural giver, I guess you would say.
Well, I like the idea is that you, at least the way I'm understanding it, is that you are there committed to your client, and it's not about, okay, well, I spent 15 extra minutes and I'm going to bill you for that.
Yeah.
It's more about, let me give you your value.
Right. Yeah. I think it's probably why they stick around.
Well, no one wants to feel nickeled and dimed in this industry, I'm sure, yourself included, you know. All right. So if you had to say the most difficult thing that you've had to learn through this process of owning your company, what would you say that is?
I think what a lot of business owners do, which is delegation. Right. So, and single mothers,
Yes,
I'm
very familiar.
Yeah, you are. Right? So here we are. We do it all, right? We are the one all, the be all. No one picks up our slack. So to delegate is really difficult, but it's so important. It's so important
Do you have some people that you feel like you can rely on?
No, I'm just kidding.
That is a flat no.
No.
Who do you delegate to?
Yeah, well, work wise, as I have my projects, obviously I have to bring on, people that for the larger projects. And I don't currently have someone full time, but I've had people before that were full time. And it was about letting go and delegating off to them, and just.
Have they let you down?
Who, in this life, who doesn't eventually? But that's part of life too, is that people are human and they're bound to do that. But that's okay too.
I think that's the hard thing for me to delegate, because I'm always like, I know I'm going to do it and do it right. And I'm not going to worry about whether I'm meeting my deadline because I'm in charge of me.
Right.
And I don't want to be let down. I think I struggle with that.
I think we all do. We all struggle there. However, if you don't take a risk on people, then they can't ever come through for you. They're never able to. One of my hardest things was ever asking for help in general, right? Mm-hmm. Forget about it. And then I realized I wasn't even giving anyone the opportunity. That I didn't look at help like, I thought, well, if I'm helping, I'm going to be a burden. If I'm asking, I'm going to be a burden. I don't want to be a burden on anyone. And then I realized I like helping people.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. And so what if they never gave me the opportunity to help them, And I'm realizing, okay, I guess come to find out there are people that, it's not always a burden to help, not to them at least.
It's so nice. It is true, because I like opportunities to help, but I don't like being the one needing help.
Right.
But then I'm providing an opportunity for someone to have the same feeling, maybe, I guess. Yeah. But yeah, it's a struggle when, so much can be on your shoulders.
Especially women. Women, we really have a hard time with it. They say men have a hard time, but us women, we really don't like to, we don't want to ask for help either. And so no one really does.
Right.
But essentially it's crucial.
Do you feel like there are lots of things in your past that have helped you to skill-wise succeed?
Yeah, everything. And I think that's one of the most important things when looking back on your life in general, and I wish I had done this, or I wish I had done that. But I wouldn't be who I am. I wouldn't be that curious person that I am, or that creative person, or I wouldn't be that person that's so in tune with others. And all these things that made me kind of hyper-focused and gave me that ability is through all the things that you go through in life.
Right. So I think about sometimes the adversity that I have had, just in a general sense, that if I am hyper attuned to things, then it can be considered a negative, but can be a superpower in the right environment.
Yeah. It just like most things in life, right? It can be a superpower, or it can be, 6-1 habit. Yeah. It's nothing in life. No part of us is ever not running at that speed. You've always got these parts of you that can be great, and then some that not so much, and that's okay too. It really is. It's okay, because essentially it's you. It's you take me.
This is where I am.
This is who I am, and good, bad, and ugly. And let's just hope you think it's cute. Okay. Let's just hope you think it's cute. Right? Because some people find my odd parts of me actually cute, and that's all I'm looking for. Because if you don't think it's cute, then you need to move on.
Exactly. Okay? Amen. I would just like to say, I love the idea of look, if I don't work for you, it's totally fine.
It's okay.
Yeah, I'm not supposed to.
Right.
Everybody, just the right people.
Right. Exactly. The one that does find all those little things that you do that you do, but they think it's cute.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's a groove. There's something to that. I don't know what exactly, but there's something to it.
Is there kind of a general mistake that you find that a lot of companies are making in advertising?
I think that a lot of companies, when it comes to their social media, especially, and that's what I'm, really their website content as well. I think a lot of companies, if there's one thing that I see a lot of, is that when they are putting their content together and out there, they aren't putting it together they're putting it together to sell instead of for their audience, always look at it like when you're putting your content together and you're putting your social, ask yourself these questions. Are you, the first thing most people want to know is, well, what's in it for me, right? What's in it for me?
Yeah. Why do I need this cup?
Right. What's in it for me?
Or whatever.
So when you're putting your stuff together, what's in it for them? That's how you're putting it together. Not I do, me, but what do you, what do they get out of it?
But that's important, I think, because when you're buying in to something, it's that feeling of you're my hero in this scenario. I have a problem with cups and you sell cups and, it's like, or whatever product.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Ask the questions, know your audience. I think, and most importantly, don't forget the call to action, right? Nobody was, what are you going to tell them to do next? Go to your website, like this, share this, something, but
tell them to do something.
Tell them to do something because that's how we're going to start interacting. That's how you're going to, be able to really get to know your audience as well.
How important is advertising on Facebook and doing, Instagram and TikTok?
It's crucial. I
no
think,
way.
It's definitely crucial. And the reason is because, how, when you're thinking about your brand and how will people know, that if they're in the back of your mind somewhere, so when they do need that service, they've seen you've got some brand awareness out there. But if you aren't, it's kind of like opening up a business and not telling anybody you opened, right? It's like, I opened this business, but I didn't tell anybody. Well, that might be one of the issues there. So it's important now. Most people say, well, I put some posts out there on social. Well, organic is tough nowadays. I mean,
organic.
Yeah, organic is tough. I always do all organic, but you're not going to see instant growth. It's going to take time, and it's getting more and more crowded out there. So my thought is, it's important to run the ads as well. But don't do them yourself unless you really know what you're doing.
What mistakes do you see people do that are, what is it, like someone just standing outside with their iPhone, like a little ad that way?
No, there's nothing wrong with that. There's 100 different things that go into putting decent ads together that people just don't know. And of course they don't know. That's not what they do for a living.
That's why you're here.
Right. They're like, I don't know. And it's my job to spot these things because when I spot it, that way I know, if they're asking me, well, I don't know, I put that together and it just never went anywhere. So I don't get it. Well, okay, let me take a look and see where the holes are. So when I'm able to do that, often I'll find that, well, they just don't know what they don't know. So it is important to find someone that knows what they're doing in that area. Just like, I foolishly tried to cut my own hair not too long ago and realized this is not what I do for a living. What was I thinking?
Gee, I think people underestimate how important ads are and how important, even like voiceover work. I always think this because it's such a shock when I do a nice intro for a podcast or something or an ad where they hadn't had their name or their company associated with something that sounds so professional that all of a sudden there's an energy, a difference.
It's a whole different ballgame. Yeah. So it is about the energy as well. And that's another thing when people are putting together things, come up with a plan, have a plan. And oh my goodness, is that my phone ringing?
No worries at all.
Calling me. Oh my goodness.
No problem. Listen, this is real life. Girl, you're a busy businesswoman. Your phone's going to be ringing.
My bad.
No worries.
But yeah, tell your stories, share your story. You want to connect. So, and it is about the energy. So when you're thinking about putting your brand stuff together and putting your digital marketing out there in the world, what do you want people to feel when they see your content, your stuff? How do you want them to feel? Not what do you want them to know? How do you want them to feel? Because that's what they're going to remember.
They're going to identify with that. Like that was exciting or that was reassuring.
Yeah.
Or
it's just how they make it's the same thing in anything. When you meet someone, they may not always remember what you said, but they remember how you made them feel.
Truth. That's like one of my favorite quotes because and it's absolutely 100% true. And I know for myself, even if I haven't seen somebody in a long time, I don't remember our conversations, but I remember you were very warm to me, you you always made me laugh or were kind when you didn't even need to be.
Yeah.
Those things
you just felt something. Yeah. That's the same thing in the business world of, how to market your business. It's how do you want people to feel when they see your brand? And if you're not putting anything out there, then well, they're probably not going to be able to feel much. Now, you rely on a certain thing. Now, I personally believe that there's nothing wrong with doing things the way you want to do things. But if you want to grow, it's kind of like Who Moved My Cheese. You know that book?
Yes.
I love that little book. I read it many, many, many years ago. But, well, how do we get out of that we're going round and round in the maze, right? And we're wanting a different solution, but we're not doing anything different about it. So.
Well, it's that definition of insanity. Doing the same thing, expecting something different.
Right. But why not? But why not?
I'm just going to keep trying until someone gives up.
Right. It should be here. I'm still mad about it. It's not changing, but I'm still doing the same thing. Right. Yeah.
So how do you feel that people are using TikTok to make you feel things? So, because I do watch TikTok I get ads all the time.
Right?
Yes, a problem. But, or a good thing, I guess, in advertising world. So what are the strategies that they're using? Are they trying to get me to be excited or feel nostalgic or?
Well, it depends on their brand, right? So they.
I'm wondering how I'm manipulated a little bit.
Oh, well, you're always. You are 100%. Put the stamp on it. Send it to the bank. It's been done. You are being manipulated on a daily basis from everybody out there, right? I don't care where you are. You search one little thing like, "How do I find a black belt in my size?" And 5 seconds later, everywhere you go, there's black belt, black belt.
Yes, it's true.
Yeah, you are being manipulated, Charlie. No doubt. Now the difference is. Are they communicating? Are they trying to, sell you something? Well, everybody is. And that's where it is. Is it something that you need? Are they going to steal your money? Probably not. Not unless you actually are buying something that isn't going to show up.
Right. It's not existent.
Right. It doesn't exist. But for the most part, that's what marketing has always been. They figure out who you are, right? And they cater to that. It's been there
sad.
Since, yeah. Well, I know, but I like it.
Well, they know what I like. Yeah, and
exactly.
it keeps coming at me.
Well, there's Google.
Yeah, really.
It really is. It's amazing. I'm like, do you know me better than me?
Yes, because now I know. It's like, what? How did you know I was thinking about getting a new water heater? And then
did I say that out loud?
No.
Did I actually Google that, or was I just saying that to my mom? What happened there?
How did they know?
Google. Whew.
How much does artificial intelligence affect what you're doing right now?
Oh boy. So I'm pretty big into AI stuff. So I really, really am. I enjoy it so much, and it really does help a lot. And I would advise it for anyone out there too. I like using AIs because as far as for content or getting ideas, because it's not going to write everything for you, but it can help inspire. It's kind of like Google. You're searching. I use a lot for, when I'm looking for information on topics or industries, pain points, understanding, all these different things. So as I put together my, what I call research and, development phase of any project, I like to use AIs a lot, the good ones at least.
So when you're looking at AI and you're using AI and you're finding out positives about an industry or negatives about an industry so that you can kind of become informed about that industry, I can see how that's so helpful. But you also use it with copywriting, because so many people use it this way. Because I just got started into copywriting right at the moment that it's really not necessary to have a human doing copywriting.
Oh, but it is. Oh, but it really is. It is.
I know that there's definitely a human touch, of course.
Yeah. Now you can tell it to talk like a human. It's pretty cool. But no matter what, you still got to go. It's, if you want it to, so no matter what, you need a human a part of it, because it's going to give you some, but you still have to do, no matter what content I pull, I still have to do it myself. I still have to go through it. I still have to, you can tell it to do just about anything, which is super cool. And for research, I love it.
I was going to say, I would love that for research, to get really the ins and outs of an industry in a very concise way.
Right. So you can, like with ChatGPT, the Pro, they have where you can search, the internet actually with it, versus just from up to 2021. But I love Jasper. I'm a big Jasper fan. It's an AI that I've had for quite some time now.
You don't just use it for your marketing, or
I use it for everything.
I was going to say, so many people, like every part of our lives.
Somebody was asking me, well, how do you write something? They were asking me about some size, or what did you put the little quote at the end, and I just popped it right in as if I used to do with Google. Now I do it with Jasper. I'm like, well, let me just find out.
Oh, that's so interesting. So it's not as much Google anymore as it is.
Not for me. Now I don't know about everybody else, but I certainly am using much more the AI searching than I am.
Is AI searching keeping track of the things that you're searching so that you can be marketed to?
No. Well, okay, but I don't know what it's but it's not turning around and spitting it right back in front of me like Google is. No.
Right.
I'm
wondering who's going to monetize
training
that.
It. Well, those are big things that people are talking about right now. No doubt.
So who knows how much they're tracking, or if they are tracking?
Yeah. There's lots of things that we don't. Well, we know that it's learning. right? We know that they're learning and they need the data. But as far as some of that other stuff, we don't know.
It's still new, right?
It's still new, yeah.
My voice has been cloned, but I don't like how it sounds.
Your voice has been cloned? How cool is that?
Yes, to do voiceover things, but it doesn't sound like, it sounds like me, but it's a very strange version of me,
right?
Very robotic version, and I like that it is, because then I'm like, well, yeah, you still need me.
Yeah, you still need me. Yeah, I think a lot of people fear that, and I don't think they really should. I think it's actually going to open up some more jobs, because there are more happening right now because of it. I think it's. I mean, I personally love it, and I think it's great for lots of different things, basically. Yeah.
So how can I help you in any possible way in your industry? I love that I'm able to have a platform where you can get your story out and have people know more about you. And, everybody's got their niche, like you said. Mm-hmm. So for me, it sounds like if you want someone who's going to go the extra mile and someone who's really going to care and not worry about, okay, well, I've spent,
right.
30 minutes thinking about this before I went to sleep tonight, so I'm going to start charging you.
Right. I need to nickel and dime you,
yeah,
right?
No.
If you're wanting a cost effective, if you're wanting someone who generally A, knows what they're doing, okay, because that helps, but B, that more of a, like you said, a boutique agency. Now, there's good and bads to that. And one of the good things, though, is that it allows me to be more hands-on. You don't have to worry about, well, I asked them, but they said it'd be Tuesday before they get back to me about something. Like you can reach me. I make sure my clients feel and know valued, and that most importantly, I produce results. And I think that's kind of what counts, right? You want the results. And I watch numbers, and I want to know their return on their investment. I want to know that, I've covered mine, and that they understand that this is an investment that they're going to get back, very quickly, and then continue to earn on top of that.
So I didn't think about the fact that being a boutique agency, you've really got your hands in everything. You don't have to ferret out to everybody and then hope that they're right. or answer to a bunch of different people about a decision that you've made. This is your baby.
Yeah, it is my baby. It is. And it's, some of the larger projects that I take on, it can be tricky because, I definitely have to do, I have to go, okay, but I make sure to hire the right ones, that come in, and I've learned some lessons through the years on, those, we all think, well, they're so much cheaper if I just hire them from out of this country.
Yeah.
I'm going to just,
you pay in other ways though.
I know, but you do, because you got to redo everything they do. And they don't understand. Oh, bless their hearts. But needless to say, yes, I've learned some lessons. So now I make sure, we've all learned lessons. We all have. Yeah.
Well, I mean, fascinatingly, I didn't really think even also about the fact that you do have international options, mm-hmm. but it's not the same as having someone right here in your neighborhood who knows the market so well, who lives in this market.
Believe it or not, I have most of my clients aren't even here in Georgia. Some of them are, but a lot of them, they're in Texas, New York. They're all over the place. So
that's really cool.
Yeah,
I mean, they found you.
They did find me. They did. They found me on social media. So, they did. And believe it or not, so a lot of people will use their personal account, and but I try to keep my business on my business, because they're not following my personal for my business stuff. However, most people have found through the personal, and then they said, well, what does she do for a living? So I always tell my clients, make sure to update your personal profile with what you do for a living, so that they can learn about this.
I used to have 2 Instagram accounts, and it was too much for me to keep up with. It was like, well, some of them, they overlap, mm-hmm. so I just got rid of that. Now it's just me. But it's an odd thing to be a brand, as well as here's my kids, and this is what I'm doing this weekend. And it's very odd.
It is. Well, it is odd. Now I do keep things pretty, I guess because when you like at my personal profile, it's a public profile, so I try to make sure that I don't put a lot of the kids' stuff on there. I watched something the other day that terrified me. It was like, now they know where your kids go to school, all these things, and I was like, holy mother, like what? So I do put, like, as long as there's nothing in the background that anybody can trace and track. And I thought, well, there are bad people.
Very bad. Really
people. Unfortunate.
It is unfortunate. Yeah. That's the best way to put it.
Oh my goodness. I've been told many times, like, you just don't have that thing inside of you that warns you. Like, and I don't. I trust people, and I believe in people, I just don't think the worst. It's just not in me to until you got to really prove me wrong to be like,
yeah.
And so I watched that. I was like, oh my goodness.
Let's just pray. I don't know if that's the right thing to say, but like, just, I don't know, believe that, the bad things maybe, or you'll be able to handle whatever does come.
I think that's one of the most important things that to ever realize is that you can handle it. In the end, God never gives you more than you can handle.
I believe that so far.
Yeah.
It's been true.
There's many times that I'm like, I don't know,
yeah,
Lord.
This might be
really, you really are testing me, And my grandmother used to say, well, he never gives you more than you, and he must really have something in mind for you because he's been testing you, man. And I thought, does he really though, or does he just like to test me? He just really likes to test me, doesn't he? What do you do?
How do you balance your life now that everything can be 24/7? Like, what do you do to make personal time personal and not always be on? Because it is up to you.
It is.
What are some strategies?
So I want to be honest. I got into gardening. So I built my own garden and it's kind of my before it got cold outside, but it was my escape. I have hobbies, so these projects that I do from making like a behind the couch table, and building stuff.
That's amazing.
Give me some tools give me some tools and some lumber and, and I just go at it.
Yeah.
So I would say my projects, my hobbies, that's.
You can't be on the phone and hammering or whatever, or gardening. Yeah. You need both hands.
Well, I just leave the phone, I'm not one to, obviously as a business owner, we have to keep our phones with it, but I will put that thing down in a heartbeat and be like, nope. You don't get to play with me anymore. I'm going to go.
Is it a challenge or are you good at it?
I've become very good at it because I will get distracted so easily. Yeah. So if I allow myself that, then I would never finish anything.
So true.
Yeah. If I allow myself to constantly be,
shiny ball syndrome is what I call it.
Yeah.
Squirrel.
Look over
here. Squirrel. Yeah.
Right. That's been my nickname several times for years. Squirrel. So yeah, if I allowed myself that, I would be all over the place. And so I have to just, I have to take that time to finish projects. I have to take that time for myself. I'm not super good at it, but I do try.
Well, being a business owner, isn't that fear that, if I don't answer this call, they're going to go to somebody else?
Yeah. I think that, yes, but if you don't actually take that time for yourself, then, how can you be great for anybody else if you're not good to yourself?
It's true, but I have that fear in terms of the voiceover world because I can audition 24/7, and so if I don't do these auditions, if I'm not disciplined enough with it, someone else will get this job. And so it's up to me. So there is a feeling I have of hurry. I don't know if that's the right word. Hurry. Yeah,
feeling that if you don't, somebody else will, yes, a fast pace,
And I know some things are meant to be mine. If they're meant to be mine, they'll be mine. And I do have some peace in that, but I always have a feeling of you've got to be hustling.
Yeah. Well, you have to be hustling, no doubt, but you'll have to also, it's for me, like I look at it like, okay, I've got, I have to take everything in stride. So if I'm going to do something, even good, bad, or ugly, I'm never going to go an extreme. I think no extreme. So now that doesn't make me the best athlete. No, because I've never been one to go chasing balls around the court. It's just not me to do that. So I'm like, throw a ball at me. It's either going to hit me right in the forehead or go fly on. It's like knock something down because I'm not chasing that. I'm not chasing the ball. So, but when it comes to, being competitive and making sure that you're on top of your stuff, design that time frame. This is the time I'm going to do it. This is my commitment. And then this is the time I'm going to reserve for me so that I can be the best, so that I can provide the services, so I can, do the voice, so I can do it as well as I can. I need to decompress or reboot or, clear your mind.
Well, I know when I do that, I generally am happier, like in every aspect of my life. Right. It's not just my work life, but everyone else is happier when I feel more balanced.
Well,
I know that's true.
It's an energy, right? We put that energy out in the world on whether or not we're, whatever we feel. So let's say you're job hunting like crazy and looking for everything. But if you're in this wound up state inside, that's what you're projecting to the world around you, right? Yeah.
Truth. And I do think so much of it is energy.
Oh, it is. To me at least. Yeah. You can feel it off somebody walking in the room like, oh, my Lord.
Yeah.
You ain't happy, are you, darling? I'm so sorry.
Do you ever see ads or marketing where you're just like, I could have done so much better? Because I do sometimes I'll hear like a voiceover. There's one that keeps playing all the time, and I hear it on WSB, and I'm just like, this is a horrible ad, and it kills me. But I don't know. I was just curious if you ever do that because I don't know.
Yeah, no, I don't. I guess the way I look at it is, I'm usually looking at it like, what was their goal here? You know, I'm looking for their goals of what they were trying to accomplish, and I'll usually see, okay, I see what they were going with it. So usually I'm looking at like, could I have helped them? You know, could I have helped? You know, if they, but I don't know. I usually just look at it like, okay, I guess I do see some stuff once in a while where I'm like, wow, what in the world were you doing? What were you doing? You just like spit that right on out there for the whole world to see, huh? You know, like, yeah. But for the most part, I'm just looking to see if I can help.
Oh, yeah. That's such a nice attitude. Here I am all critical. This is a horrible ad. And you're like, oh, I could have helped. I would love to know if I could help. That's so sweet. I need to change my ways.
No, that's not. Well, actually, I'm too sweet for my own good. But, you know, but at the same time, I guess I'm just, I don't, because most of the time when people are doing this, they are trying. They're trying to figure out, you know, they're small businesses, and they don't have the marketing person on staff. They don't know that they even have someone in their price range probably out there. So they're trying to wing it. And I've been there. I was that small business when I first started out trying to figure it out. So I know what they're going through. So usually I see it from a much more empathetic, probably.
That's level. So nice. Yeah. Well, I think that's important to note that you don't have to spend thousands and thousands of dollars to have an effective ad out there in the world.
No, you don't. I mean, you do have to, you know, ask the right questions, and hopefully you have that right person that you can contact and be like, hey, this is what I'm thinking about doing. You know, just even throw, yeah. It's just talking to someone who knows, you know, that industry often can help alone. Yeah.
Well, if anyone wanted to get in touch with you, what is the best way?
So, you know, email, text, call. Yeah, go ahead. If I can't answer, I'll get back to you as soon as I can. But yeah, so it would be Sherry at gottomedia.com, and that's GOTTO media.com. And you can go to my website, gottomedia.com as well, and 678-274-8505 is the company number. So
I hope lots of people come and visit with you and get to know sort of why you do what you do. And clearly on this interview, it's been so nice to understand not just that you want to help people, because that obviously we're all trying to help each other, right?
Yeah.
And
we should be.
Yeah. Well, we're making money. Everybody wins. Like, you have a service and this is what I need. But you also really have your finger on the pulse of what's really important, clearly. Yeah. And you have results to prove it. So that's so nice.
That's the good part, right? And I make you money. Okay. I make you money.
Win.
Right,
it's my favorite.
I'm not making you money, then it ain't gonna work anyway, now is it?
So true. No one will be happy, but clearly this is the right spot for you. And I'm so grateful that you were able to come in today and chat with me about everything that I don't know about the media world. And I hope some people give you some like a little heads up.
Yeah. Well, hey, I'll take a look at your stuff too while I'm here.
Oh, girl, we help each other.
Yeah, exactly.
So nice. Well, thank you again for listening to Fearless Formula on Business Radio X. And again, this is Sharon Klein reminding you that with knowledge and understanding, we can all have our own fearless formula. Have a great day.
All right.